Being a content creator is often sold as, freedom. And as the creator economy continues to boom, the next generation is becoming even more obsessed with the idea of becoming a creator. It's safe to say that the creator economy is booming and it's here to stay. But what doesn't get talked about enough is the emotional cost of creating for algorithms, audiences, and brand deals instead of creating from a place of joy. So in today's Thrive Now episode, I'm joined with Chism, founder of Inner Chyld Creative, for an honest conversation about the realities of the content creator career path, especially for young people, professionals, and creatives navigating mental health, burnout, and authenticity. We talk about creating from alignment instead of pressure, redefining success beyond views, and why joy isn't just a feeling, it's a sustainable growth strategy. So, if the creator economy or being a creator has been on your radar, you know me by now. I have a reflection for you before we kick off today's episode. Here's your question. Where in your creative process have you been optimizing for attention instead of alignment? And what would it look like to create one thing this week purely for joy? All right. Aaron and I will dive really deep into this topic during the episode. So answer this reflection question and then dive into the episode when you're ready. I'm talking with Aaron, and we're going to be talking about the famous content creator career path, what that career path might entail, especially as it relates to mental health and creating from joy and being authentic to yourself. I'm going to kick it over to Aaron so that you can tell us a little bit about who you are, how you got into this content creator space and helping creators on that career path, and then your new venture. I'm so excited to hear about it.
Thank you, Deja. I really appreciate it and the platform. Hi, everyone. My name is Inner Chism. A lot of people in my personal life and professional life call me Chiz as well. I am the founder of Inner Chyld Creative, a digital agency dedicated to helping content creators grow and managing talent in that space, but then also helping brands and businesses with their content creator strategy and their overall social platform strategies. How I got into this industry, it starts back, I would like to say it started back from college, but it didn't. I was a biology pre-med major in college, wanted to be a doctor, and then when I get to my senior year, finally realized that I do not want that career path. So I got into recruiting and sales and trying to figure it out, and got into a career at DoorDash where I was on the partnerships team helping restaurants during the pandemic, and then switched over to TikTok after DoorDash, spending about 3 years there, where I was able to work with top content creators on the TikTok platform, right? Within different spaces in the lifestyle, education space. I've worked with some comedian creators, some automotive creators, you name it. I've been able to work with them while I was at TikTok for almost 4 years. And recently, I decided to start my own agency, Inner Chyld Creative, where I'll be doing is the same work, but just with a passion for creative well-being and mental wellness at the forefront. So, that's me.
And tell me a bit about the name, like Child. It's like very unique. I'm all about like inner child work. I don't tell people that's what I'm talking about a lot of times when I release my content or I do my workshops. But I think we are our truest form when we're children. Like we know exactly what we like. We operate off of curiosity. So I love that you've named your brand and your company Inner Chyld. But is there a deeper meaning behind it? What made you choose that name specifically?
Well, you hit it right on the head with why I named it Inner Chyld. Just, being able to create from a space where you're your most authentic self. And I think as children, I like to preface this, like not everyone's childhood was a positive childhood, right? And, when they hear inner child, it's a negative association to it, which is totally understandable. And that's where you kind of get into the whole aspect of inner child healing and working on healing that version of yourself that was neglected or was hurt or whatever the case may be. But there is a positive side to that, where you mentioned is in regards to the curiosity and doing what your original like passions were, right? I think as we get older, we start to figure out that the things that bring us the most joy were the things that probably brought us a lot of joy when we were children. So I'm just in that space of helping creatives tap into that place where they're able to kind of create from the most joy. And a lot of times, probably 90% of the times when I'm talking creators, it can be stemmed back to their childhood. The spelling is also unique in regards to why I have the Y. I didn't put the Y just to misspell it and to sound cool or whatever,
Yes.
because the logo for Inner Child Creative is the Y. And the reason why is because I want people to remember their why and why they wanted to create and why they're doing the work that they're doing, whether they're a content creator, an actor or actress or a musician or whatever the case may be. I think the more we can tap into the reason why we started. Simon Sinek has the greatest book, one of the greatest books of all time, Start With Why. And it's not what you're doing, it's not who you're talking to, it's why you're doing it. And I think if creatives can remember that, they'll be able to create with joy and continue to move forward in peace and prosperity and all those good things. So that's why.
Love that. And I think today a lot of people have been using like peace, prosperity, and joy and authenticity, and they've become sort
Yeah.
of like buzzwords.
Yes.
But I love that you put it at the center because that's what you believe in. Can you talk about like the behind the scenes of that content strategy? What have you noticed from content creators who might be creating just for like the platform and the algorithm versus the ones that are creating content that like feels good? Like, is there a difference in the vibe of the content and how it performs from your perspective?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I've seen both sides of the coin, right? Like there are creators um who started doing something that they didn't intend to go viral, right? They posted, say, a random mukbang video or whatever the case may be, where they're eating a bunch of food and they didn't have any intention of going viral. A lot of the creators actually during the pandemic, when this big boom happened, they had no intention on being content creators, right?
Mm.
A lot of them were just posting random things. Hey, I just posted my favorite brand of car and it just blew up overnight. And now I'm in that industry. Or I posted what I was eating for dinner. People liked it. It got 30 million views. And now I'm a food creator. Right. And so that was the blessing and curse for some of the content creators that blew up during that time is like, hey, like I didn't have any attention, but now that I'm making money from it, now that I'm getting notoriety from it, I have to continue on doing this. And so I think that sometimes causes a rift between the passion of what creators are interested in. Maybe their interest was originally music, but now since they've stumbled upon this food stuff, they have to stick with food. And so I've been able to see both sides, but then also the side of creators where they were intentionally trying to be food creators. And you get a lot of that nowadays, right? Within the last year or two, people are coming onto TikTok with the intention of doing something specific, right? And I find that those creators are able to, in some cases, create from a little bit more of a place of joy because they're doing something, they're creating something that they love. And I find that a lot of people that the 2020 creators have to come back to themselves and like now they're on a journey of getting back to what they originally wanted to do. And that journey may be a little tough for some people. And that's where I've tried to help creators that I've worked with during my time at TikTok, get to that place of where they're able to kind of create with love and then also have a balance between what you love and what you are getting paid for and probably merge the two if you can, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna talk a little bit about like on TikTok when it originally got banned in the US, there were videos of people like exposing the behind the scenes of their content. Mukbang creators were eating a little bit and then throwing the food away. Can we talk about that? Like, is it harmful, helpful? Is that like inner child rebellion a little bit?
Inner child rebellion.
Because now they're like, all right, I don't have to wear this mask anymore. I can tell y'all all the things I actually don't like about being a content creator.
One, I would say that was just a trending thing where they knew they would get views from, honestly. Because if you read the true content creators who were doing that, they knew and they know that they were still going to be able to create on other platforms, right? Them breaking the fourth wall and like letting people know behind the scenes, they knew that like they would still be able to do a lot of that content on YouTube and Instagram and whatever the case may be. So it was more so, I think a lot of those creators was just joking or being serious, but also not caring that, what people thought about it. And I think a lot of people, the true content creators we know that are like eating the food and all that good stuff. So I feel like that was just a trend a lot of creators were doing during that time. And they didn't have any real intention about like, it was like a rebellion or anything.
Yeah.
Deep down, a lot of those creators were still planning on their exit to other platforms and creating content elsewhere. So
Yeah.
they didn't want to give too much away, which I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure of.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. But okay. Is there a rebellion that happens though when content creators find that they're out of alignment with their creative energy? Like, have you seen anybody rebel and just like do a 180 or like quit social media and never come back or take a long time to come back? Like, what are some signs that a content creator has been out of alignment for a while and maybe going through like a rebellious phase?
Yeah, I would say to your point, it's exactly that. Taking breaks, right? Where instead of going through the process of changing your content or letting people know that, hey, this content really doesn't align with me, a lot of people, instead of doing that, will take a break for a week or 2 weeks or even a month or 2 months. Like there's like those long breaks, or they get into battles with their audience,
Mm.
right? Where it's like the shift is starting to happen with their content, and now their audience is starting to notice, and now the audience is like, where's this content? Where's that content? And that is not healthy because it's one against a million at that point. It's one against 100,000. It's one, and now you're just taking all this stuff in. And so, what I suggest to creatives during that time is, yes, take that break if you need, recharge, and reintroduce yourself as this new version, as this person that's creating with intention, or whatever the case may be. And the hardest part is that you have to like silence the noise from
Mm.
the people that are wanting you to stay in this box, right? And if you feel the need to just educate your audience to say, hey, like, this is what I love to do. And I'm going to like sacrifice the views and sacrifice the engagement and sacrifice these things as I introduce myself. Because that's the biggest thing, right? When people transition, sometimes it'll be a transitionary period where the views may not be as high as your old content. And that is something that creatives have to feel comfortable with for a certain amount of time. And I say like, hey, you're starting from scratch, right? You still have your audience in some cases, but it's okay that if you want to switch, but just be okay that the views may not be hitting all the time, and you have to be strong in that. And I've worked with a lot of creators who have been able to transition, then be able to like, stand firm on not seeing those views, and then also start to see that slow rise again. So I think it's just a matter of how much courage you have in changing, but then also how much patience do you have in rebuilding your platform from scratch in most cases. And I've seen creatives do it successfully. And if you can do it in one area, all you have to do is take the same formula and tie it into this other thing, right? And that's the consistency. That's the make sure it's engaging. Those are all the same factors that you did in that previous category. Just do it in a new category and just have patience and letting it build up again.
And I feel like you're preaching to like professionals in general. When people start in one career and they want to move to another career, they're like, I got to start from scratch. But this is the play phase. You'll figure it out. You'll connect the dots once again. No experience is wasted. So I love that.
Yeah. And just to add to that a little bit more, because that's where my whole career was, right? I started off pre-med, doing internships with like the CDC and the EPA. And then I get into recruiting, and then I get into technical recruiting, and then I get into restaurant partnerships. And then I want to be a music manager. And now I'm starting my company. And so it's like these different phases where, like you said, no experience is wasted, because even in what I'm doing now, I find myself going all the way back to my pre-med days of learning how to research, of understanding the data, of being able to take large pieces of data and synthesize it into like a practical usage of what I'm doing in my business. So a lot of those skills come in handy. And so like what you were saying, like no experience is wasted when you're doing something that you love, and always kind of moving with that state of curiosity. Just go with where you're curious. That's what I tell all the young people. If you're curious about it, yes, do a little research, but just go with it. Like if it's calling
Yeah,
you in some way.
that's true. So I've been moving away from saying doing things that you're passionate about and instead saying doing things that you're curious about. Because I think curiosity is it's like a boost. Because sometimes passion breaks your heart.
Hmm.
So I love that we're focusing on like that curiosity piece. I will add that like I've been following a creator. Her name is Aisha the Great, and
Okay.
she got really popular for like thrifting. She'd go and thrift and then turn things into things that did not look like what she thrifted.
Yeah.
And I watched her transition period. And she transitioned from like thrifting to lifestyle in general. So she'll still do like budget friendly finds that you might find on like Amazon, but she'll talk about her experience with going to New York Fashion Week or how she does her hair and like shopping at Target. Like it's just she you could tell that she wanted to break out and do more things and she did it well. So it is doable. I've seen
Right.
creators do it and I didn't unfollow. So I like it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, but okay, when creators or professionals in general who might be trying to start their creator or influencer journey, when they come to you saying that they feel stuck and not creative or they're nervous to post, like whatever it might be, especially if it's a creator who's moving to a new space, what do you normally tell them or what do you notice might be like the root of that challenge that they're facing when they're coming to you?
I start off with asking a lot of questions, right?
Yeah.
Like asking the why behind why they're feeling like that. What prompted it? Usually it's triggers that have happened. I think sometimes it's with comparison. Comparison is the biggest thing, especially with other content creators comparing themselves with people in their niche, whether like a food creator saying, oh, this food creator is doing the exact same thing and I'm getting 1,000 views per video and he's getting 1,000,000. Like we're doing the exact same thing. And so I find that being the root to a lot of things. But then also I'm going to be honest, like the brand deal flow is like where a lot of creators start to feel stuck. And it's always an interesting thing. When creators first start, it's the content first, the brand deal second, right? It's like creating from a place of like, this is my content, this is what I love doing. The content is great and allow the brand deals to come. But the blessing and the curse sometimes so that is once the deals start coming and there's a lull in brand deals, then they're like, okay, my content sucks. And then most times I'm looking at the content, I'm like, you're doing the same exact thing that you were doing.
Yeah.
Your content hasn't changed at all. The
Yeah.
brand deals have just slowed down. And that has nothing to do with you sometimes, right? It has to do with timing. It has to do with brands not spending at that particular time, the seasonality of what you're doing. Like, for example, food creators, their biggest time for brand deals are during the holidays, right? And so just having creators like understand that, yeah, it's not you. It's just sometimes the market is what's going on. So I think a lot of creators feel stuck when things aren't flowing or they're not getting that reciprocal energy from the brands and they automatically go to the content. And where I suggest them is say, continue to do it, right? Continue to just create. I like to have them set goals, right? Especially if they're in a suck period of saying like, hey, I'm just going to create a video every day for the next 30 days and not worry about what brands come. And usually after like 2 weeks of doing that, stuff starts to flow, right? Because it's not about the content. Because once they start thinking it's the content that's the issue, instead of just like brands not paying them, then they stop posting and
Mm-hmm.
it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way. It's because they're like, oh, my content sucks, so I'm not going to post anymore. And now you're in the deep hole of like not posting. Now the brand deals really aren't reaching out. And so it's just a thing where I try to let creators know, don't let someone else dictate, like someone else's performance and their content dictate what you think about your content. And then also don't allow the lack of brand deals affect what you think about your content because it's probably deeper than what you think. So continue to post and continue to do your thing, iterate wherever necessary, but it's important to not let that dictate what you think about your content and just go from
Yeah.
that place of creating from for yourself and within and your audience and then let everything else flow the way it should.
You touched a little bit on sustainability in content strategy, but what are some other common mistakes that people are making? So like if they self-fulfill the prophecy and they stop posting, that's one thing. But like,
Yes.
what if they're continuously posting and then now they're seeing that other side, which is burnout?
So if they're not posting, it's the anxious attachment to posting. Like people can feel when you're not being yourself and when you're doing it for the money or the views. People, they can smell it over the screen, right? So I think contrary to not posting, it's where people just kind of attacking your audience for the views in a way by promoting a sense of yourself that's not really authentic to you. And so then you start trying other people's content, and then you start taking other people's ways of using their text on screen or using this particular sound or whatever the case may be. So I think the contrary to that is like you just start copying everybody around you in your niche, and then you really lose your authenticity at that point and start to burn out because it's like, now I'm really not being myself. So instead of like the backing up, now you're trying to be everybody else. So I think the middle point to that is always just being yourself and just continue to stay consistent there and not really kind of worried about the outside noise of it all. Because you're going to find your audience.
That's
Because
true.
you're going to find your audience, and your audience is going to find you, right? Just continue to
Yeah.
post. I saw a crazy video that just changed my mindset. Like if you get 50 likes on a video, right, which is low to some people, or 100 likes or 200 likes, have you imagined 200 people in a room?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know
Yeah.
how
It's hard to
like
get
if you
200
put
people in the room.
imagine 200 people in a room when you get 1,000 likes. Imagine 1,000 people in a room. Imagine 5,000 people. And these are low likes that I'm saying here, right? These are things that people would call me during one of my time at TikTok and say I'm shadow banned because they have 20,000 likes on a video in less than an hour. I'm like,
Yeah.
have you seen 20,000 people in a room before?
Yeah.
It's okay. Let's just continue to just like, chip away at it. So I think it's just reframing a lot of the metrics that we see in regards to social content and then utilizing it to help us be consistent. Just like, yeah, 20,000 people like this. That is crazy. So just reframing how we think about certain things is key.
Yeah, I think there's it's not really a joke, but it's a running thing in some of my friend groups with other creators. And we're adopting the mindset of touching grass. Like try
Mm.
like if you are a creator, I really want creators to start going out and trying to host in-person events. Like I do
Mm-hmm.
in-person workshops. I've done workshops where I'll put it on and like 5 people show up. I'm like, 5 people? I could have stayed at home and typed on my computer and 20 people would have saw it. 100 people would have saw it. So like, I think touching grass is very important. Like just go outside, start planning
Yes.
in-person events, and then you'll start to realize that maybe you have an event and 5 people show up and you get really close, and you learn about those folks and you enjoy the moment. But then when you go back online, you start to see that, okay, you posted a video, you didn't even have to spend the time planning a whole event, you didn't have to buy food, you didn't have to do any of that stuff, and you still reached more than 5 people or a
Exactly.
thousand people. So I'm like, just getting out of like the digital bubble is really, really important. I'm glad that you brought that up. And I think self-awareness is big too. Like when you started talking about copy and pasting other people's content, I already know I'm not really a video girly. Like I can't just set up a camera and start talking to it, but I can have like one-on-one conversations with people. I can do a digital workshop. So I think really knowing yourself and your style and how you like to create is very important. I'm glad you brought that up too.
Yes.
So we're going to talk a little bit now about like maybe the untraditional content creators. So the ones who might have 9 to 5 jobs. They're like, ooh, I want to try out this content thing. I want to invite people into my life. I think I see a lot of content creators getting content around like their 9 to 5s. So even that's an additional layer, because what if you quit 9 to 5? What if you like quit that job that like brings you that popularity? So like, let's talk about these untraditional content creators. What are some strategies for them, and what are some things that you're seeing with those type of creators?
There's a lot of those, especially working at TikTok. We all kind of caught the bug sometime, right? Like all my fellow
Yeah.
colleagues working with creators all day, you just naturally want to start your own brand, right? And start, highlighting yourself and your content. So I was around a lot of people that, had 5 to 9 on the content creation side. And you would think, people that work at TikTok should just know how to go viral and like we should all be having 1 million views and like all these things. But it was actually the opposite, right? Where like a lot of people that work 9 to 5 sometimes, aren't able to blow up in the same way someone is that's doing it for 7. And that's not always the case, is because a lot of the people that do it 24/7, their mind is always on their content of how they can reiterate, looking at what other people are doing in the space. What are people talking about? What are the trends? Like, it's a job sometimes to stay in the loop with everything that's going on, even if you work at the platform, right? So I think there is a way where you can implement your content within your 9 to 5, which I think is the best way to do it. Whether that be one of my favorite creators, Dre in Dallas. I worked with that TikTok. He's a food creator based in Dallas, and he was working 9 to 5 for a while before he eventually quit his job to, do content creation full time. And so Dre, he was doing a lot of food mukbangs. So Dre would essentially eat at lunch. He'll be in the break room eating his food and just pull it out like his camera and just record it. He didn't wait until he got home all the time to create his content. He went off in the car, he would go in the break room and just record his content. And that was where a lot of his videos started to really gain traction and blow up. So I would say, if you're a 9 to 5er, don't feel like you only have to do it 5 to 9. Right. You can still implement it depending on what you do throughout your day. If you have a quick moment where you walk into the bathroom, that like walk to the hallway, walk in the hallway can be a time where you just pull out your camera and just give a quick 20-25 second video and post it real quick. Right. So if you can, right. Not everybody has that, ability to do it, but I say don't only wait to do it 5 to 9. Try to do it during your 9 to 5 and allow your audience to see you in a different light, whether you're wearing a uniform. Dre will be in his scrubs because he worked in a medical environment. So I definitely say just do it.
Yeah. I'm gonna stay on that non-traditional content creator train and talk a bit about UGC creators and EGC creators. So like user generated content creators who they're not really representing themselves. They're representing, it's like the QVC vibe. Like they'll get products and they'll talk about those products. And then the EGC. Yes. And then the EGC creators are the ones that work at companies and they're just creating content about the companies that they work for. So those mindsets are a little bit different than like the typical people who sign up to be content creators. So what are some strategies for not burning out if you're maybe like not representing yourself, but you're representing a company and you're like selling a product for them, or you're essentially a brand ambassador if you're like the employee generated content side? Because content is hard. Like no one really teaches you how to show up on camera. You got to edit your videos. There's just a lot that goes into it. And spoiler alert, I attempted to be a UGC content creator for a while. I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Well, one, you just taught me a new term. I did not know about this EGC term. That's for y'all LinkedIn creators. I know y'all the community. Man, that's a new term. I've never heard of it, but now trust me, I'm going to do my research on it. But it makes sense of what the difference is, right? I would say the biggest piece of advice, especially for UGC creators and those creators that are promoting, whether it be on TikTok Shop or Amazon creators and all these people that are their whole content's around a particular product, I'd suggest having a balance. I don't think every video should be a brand deal. I don't think every video should be something about the brand, because eventually there gets to a point where your audience knows you're selling something, right? And if you have videos in between, like if you want to post 4 TikTok Shop videos in a row, fine. But at least one video just having there where you're just talking about like who you are and what you like to do. And then people are like, oh, Deja said that she likes Five Guys burgers or whatever the case may be, and that's crazy. As a vegan, the first thing that comes to my mind is Five Guys. That she likes Five Guy burgers, and she just said it in a random video, and they locked that in their brain. They're like, oh yeah, I remember that video from Deja on Five Guys. And so now 2 weeks later, when Five Guys is asking you to post like a brand deal or whatever the case may be, people are going to be like, this is not only something Five Guys just paid Deja for. This is something that she actually likes because she told me about it 2 weeks ago. So I think there should be a balance in between who you're promoting and who you are, and allowing some of those videos to include who you are so that you can build that strong and authentic relationship with your audience so they know, oh, Deja's a real person, just not a product pusher. Internally, you'll feel a lot better about the stuff you're putting out because you know you'll have a balance internally, and you're just not selling things. You're also just talking about who you are.
Ooh, I like that. I feel like business owners and entrepreneurs run into that a lot too. Like, how do you balance being salesy versus being authentic to like why you even started the brand? So I'm glad that you brought that up, even for folks, because truthfully, when you're a business, you are a content creator too, especially if you don't have a marketing team. So this is super helpful for those folks too. We are nearing the end, so I'm going to try to give this a,
What?
I know.
Dang.
I
That went
know.
by quick.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about maybe some tools, rituals, or non-negotiables that you've put into your own process as you're
Mm-hmm.
building your business. And then maybe something that you've told like content creators in general. What are some things that you got going on that keeps you balanced?
Yeah, I think it's routine as much as you can, especially if you're a full-time content creator. Even if you're not a full-time content creator, setting aside the time for your content creation, right? Whether it be I create from 11 to 3 every day, and that is my window of time. Some days I may not be able to do that and I'll adjust, but at least I'm going to try to do from 11 to 3 every day and just go in for those next 4 hours, bashing as much content as I can so I can have content to post. But developing a routine is important for your content creation because then you're like, oh, I know what I'm doing every single day. I'm not just waking up every day and just allowing like, the flow of whatever's going on today to, take me, which is fine. But when you have the set schedule, you start to realize that your ideas will start to come to you because your subconscious would know like, oh, I have to like create something at 11. And then you'll find yourself waking up with ideas, right? And not having to search for ideas, your subconscious will be storing all that stuff. And so it's knowing like, oh yeah, Deja has to record at 11 to 3. Let me go ahead and give her some stuff to talk about. You know what I mean? Let me go ahead and drop an idea in her brain before she wakes up or while she's sleeping and dreaming. Then you start to really dream about the things that you want. When you have that set time. So I say having that schedule routine of when you create content, but then also, like you mentioned, touching grass is important. And I'm talking about the physical sense of touching grass, right? Where you actually going outside and you have a routine outside of content creation. And as long as you stick with that, make that your non-negotiable. Forget the content creation is secondary to your non-negotiable of creating a mental wellness practice or a physical wellness practice or a spiritual wellness practice. I need to like, have a 10-minute meditation, or I need to like read 10 minutes of this book. Or I need to journal. Like make those your non-negotiables first, and then allow your content creation to stem from that. And once you do that over a certain period of time, you'll start to see the flourishment of your content creation when you have those non-negotiables in your everyday routine, not related to content.
That's true. I'm
Yeah.
living proof. Proof.
Yeah.
It took me a while, and I'm still like on the fence with calling myself a LinkedIn creator, but like it is
You
true.
are.
It is.
You are.
Oh, but I'm like, I was talking to someone the other day, and I was like, yeah, I think in like LinkedIn posts, and it's like kind of weird. And I was like, yeah, I used to use Twitter a lot, and I used to think in tweets, and I was like, okay, I'm not weird. Okay, it's a
Yeah,
creative
yeah.
thing. But I've done that. I listen to audiobooks. I walk. So I'm trying to be better with that. So like everything that you're saying is true. And then I do voice journals that honestly could be content within itself. But when you start to make it easy for yourself, then it becomes a little bit easier to just like create content.
Yeah. One more thing I'll add to that is like I suggested this to a couple creators. Make a video, get all done up, put your like whatever you're doing, whatever you do in your video, whether it's not getting done up or you get done up or you put on a certain hat or whatever the case may be. Make a video, create it as if you're posting it, and just leave it in your drafts. But that video is for you, right? And that's something to remind you of who you are, your goals, what you have going on. Don't even post it. Don't even have any intention to ever post it in your life. Because some stuff isn't for the world to see, right?
Oh,
Some stuff is for yourself to see. Because I find myself going into like my old videos and like, oh, this was helpful for me at this point in my time. I was talking to everybody else, but this was really for me. So I say today, if you have a chance, create a video and let that live there for you to remind you of what you're doing it for and like your goals and your dreams. So that's just something that's helpful for me.
Ooh, I love that. And I love that you said that like you posted something and it was for you. And I think the best content that people create is for themselves. Like a lot of people like of course have your audience, but the way that I like to think of it, I'm like there are more people who exist in the world that's just like me. So when I'm creating content, it's stuff that I need to remember, that I need to see. And I also have a little sister who asks me questions and I'm like, I tell you these things, but I'm gonna just post them so that I can say I told you so because I already
Yeah,
told you.
yeah, yeah.
But
Right.
yeah, so I think that's a good method too in general for creating content.
Yes, for sure.
We are slowly closing it out. So we're going to talk
Okay.
about joy as a growth strategy because
Ooh.
we hinted at it a little bit, like being authentic, peace, mental health. But have you seen like real outcomes come from people who stopped worried about the follows, the likes, and then just focused on like joy measurements? And like if they did, like what are those joy metrics that people can start to lean on rather than those like social media metrics?
I won't gaslight anyone and say like social media metrics aren't important,
Okay.
right? Because if you're looking to do this as a full-time career, the likes, the shares, the comments, the views do have an importance.
Yeah.
They do, right? You know, I'm not one of those people to say, don't worry about the views. Don't like it does have an importance for sure. But what I do suggest people do when they're looking at their metrics is look at your metrics from a framework of you versus you, right? And the reason why I say that is because, especially if you're just starting off or you only have 20,000, 30,000 followers, whatever the case may be, and does you know service to pay attention to your views in comparison to the biggest creators, right? So if you're averaging 5,000 views or 500 views and you're like, my video didn't get 1 million, so it isn't viral. I like to tell creators like base virality off of your own personal ecosystem. If you're getting 500 views on average, cool. But your viral is 2,000 views.
Mm,
That's just a number I'm just throwing out there. If you got 2,000 views on the video, you should be just as excited as if you were to get 1 million views. Because your average views were you were getting 300, 500 views up until this 2,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 view video. So in my eyes, you're viral.
yeah.
So reframing what virality means, and even for LinkedIn creators, likes per post, right? If you're averaging 50 likes per post, that's fine, right? Don't beat yourself up for not getting 100,000 likes per post. Just
Yeah.
say, when I get 100 likes per post, that is viral for me.
Yeah.
So reframing what viral is in comparison to what your average is, I think is the most important thing that we should do around like the metrics. And that helps you create from a place of joy. And one of the most important metrics I would say from creating from a place of joy is that when when you're creating from a place of joy, when you can't wait to share. Like you can't wait to get it off your chest, right? You don't feel any anxiety and like you ain't trying to over edit. You edit wherever you need, but you're really excited to get it off. And the joy doesn't come from how many views you're getting in. The joy comes from when you hit that post button and that feeling you get is just like, dang, that was good. Like that's how you know that you're creating from a place of joy because now you're nothing else. How many likes it gets or what people say about it doesn't really matter. I
Yeah.
know that this video was so good. I really enjoyed making it. And I really enjoyed talking about it. And I am so happy when I hit that send button. And a lot of the times, the most viral videos come from when creators post like that.
Yeah.
It'd be the creators. I get this all the time. It's like creators just like this video that I was over anxious about, whatever. It didn't get the views that I wanted, but this random video that I posted that like of my cat and me got 30 million views, and I hate that happened. I'm like, it happened because you created from a place of joy. And you were creating from a place of just freedom, right? You weren't caring about the likes. You had no expectations around it. So I think if we can do that more, I think we'll be able to really tap into using joy as a growth strategy. And thank you so much for that framing of it,
Yeah.
because, and I'm going to use that. I'm
Yes.
going to use that in my talk
Do
moving
it.
forward, is using joy as a growth strategy. And I'm going to shout you out every chance I get, for sure, for framing that question in that way, because that's exactly what I want Inner Child to be, is allowing creators to, yes, get money. Yes, get the brand deals and get the millions of views and all that stuff. But I want joy to be at the center of that. And that's the best way to tap into your inner child. So I really appreciate you, Deja.
Yes. And I'll say this, even though I wasn't calling myself a creator, I will
Yeah.
say that the conversation is my growth metric or my
Mm,
joy metric. But I remember posting something about like Hailey Bieber. I was like, ooh, what if you take Hailey Bieber's plot and like apply it to your life and career? Like it will like dramatically change. So I was really excited and I started texting people about it. And I'm like, yes, conversation is my joy metric. So like I
dope.
think if everyone finds their joy metric, creation would be a little bit more fun. Okay, so
Yes.
I'm gonna close this out. If there is someone listening today, and they are feeling distracted or disconnected from their creativity or overwhelmed by content, maybe give them one small step that they can take, like today, not tomorrow. I'm all about today. What's something that they do today, to help them overcome those feelings that they may be feeling?
Oh, one thing I would just say, one A and one B. One
Okay.
A is, if you're finding yourself comparing yourself to a lot of people, just take a day where you're not looking at content on
Mm.
your For You pages, on your social strategy, like, social media page, whatever the case may be. Just take a day where you're not on social. And the second thing I would say is create. I know that it's very like simple, but if you feel it, if it's something calling you, there's a, I know you know this, Deja, as a LinkedIn creator. There's a feeling that you get when you like, the video is calling you, the idea, the concept is calling you, and it won't leave you alone. And these
Mhm.
things in your mind, they won't leave you alone. No matter what, this idea won't go away. No matter how much you try to push it away or say it's not going to work for you or whatever the case may be, the same idea is stuck with you. I urge someone to just take it there and just do that. Do that thing that's calling you, that video concept that's calling you, that idea that's calling you. Just do it. Just take the first step. Just do it and allow life to just show up for you in that way. So that's the biggest thing I would say. Whatever's calling you, just follow it and just go with your gut, literally.
I love that. All right. Tell the people how they can find you, how they can work with you, all the things.
Yes, so you can find me on my personal social is Call Me Chiz, CALLMECHIZZ. I'm that on like TikTok, Instagram, all the platforms. And then my business page is Inner Chyld Creative, Inner Child, INNER, child with a Y, and creative. And you could, set up an alignment session. If there is something that you want to talk about, if there's a creator out there that wants a one-on-one, if there's spills or whatever the case may be, I have an alignment session offering. We can talk for 15 minutes. And then also brands out there that are looking to amp up their influencer strategy or just over their overall social strategy, feel free to reach out to me for an alignment session as well. And we can talk about how Inner Child can help you with that on your platform.
Thank you so much for your time. And I know this will reach the person that needs to see it when they need to see
Yes.
it. And bye, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. If this conversation gave you permission to slow down, rethink success, or reconnect with why you started creating, great. Honor it. That's what it was supposed to do. You don't have to chase every trend. You don't have to perform for every single metric. And you don't need to lose yourself in order to grow. If this episode resonated, as always, please leave us a comment. We want to see what you have to say. We want to respond to you. We want to support you on your journey. And rate the episode and share it with your friends. Obviously, we need other creative professionals and creators who might be considering this path to hear this message so that they're creating from joy and not stress. And don't forget, if you're imagining more joy, a more sustainable way of creating, and that is a vision that is speaking to you, drop it into our dream database. We want to read it and continue to support you as you continue down this content creator path, influencer path, or even dive into the creator economy in another way. Always remember to create from curiosity, measure growth by alignment, and always, always, always let joy lead you forward as you journey down this path. And remember, keep thriving today, not tomorrow. Thrive today, not tomorrow. See you later.